This podcast is part of the Pull Up a Chair podcast network. Let's build community through connection, conversation, and collaboration.
Welcome to
How's That Working For You?
where
We spill the tea about relationships, millennial adulting, or whatever else life decides to chuck at us.
Hey Kat, guess what our fans have been asking for?
What, V?
They want us to talk about Mark and Jessica, and by fans, I mean I've gotten 3 different comments on social media about it, so...
Hey, we've all got to start from somewhere, okay? Anyway, we didn't really talk about Mark and Jessica, and I feel like Mark and Jessica could have had their own separate arc. They had a separate story arc that was very different from everyone else's. I felt like they were the star children of the show. Like,
Oh my god, yes. They made for such good television. It was like a Lifetime movie up in there.
yeah, oh my god. And okay, to be fair, I will never think that Jessica's a good person. But,
I mean, she did feign wine to her dog.
yeah, so, I mean, it's funny because people say that Jessica represents all people named Jessica, which is really bad. Which is really bad. Oh my god, because you literally could say it's like a Karen, you know?
Yes. Oh my gosh.
Let's talk a little bit about Mark and Jessica in general. The show portrayed them as Mark being this lovesick puppy that all he really wanted was to gain the affection of Jessica, whom he thought was the most beautiful woman on the face of the planet.
No, she thought she was the most perfect woman on the face of the planet. She couldn't do wrong. She could do no wrong.
Yeah, he was so blindly in love with her, sorry.
Oh, love is blind. How about that?
Based on things that were said off camera, I don't know how true his love really was for her. I think that he might have really fallen in love with her while they were in the pods, but after knowing her for a bit, he may have been really pushing his limits with her. But yeah, the whole time I was watching, I thought Jessica was just the dumbest. Sorry, Jessica, but not sorry. She was the most questionable character on that show. It seemed like she had no morals compass in terms of what she wanted to do.
And then the way she treated Amber and Barnett was awful. She was pretending to be friends with Amber and then trying to get Barnett to cheat on her together.
Yeah,
or trying to cheat with Barnett.
And oh my god, that conversation with Barnett was so uncomfortable.
All the conversations with Barnett after the pods were so uncomfortable because she kept coming back to him.
I don't know. It's interesting because she I don't know if she knew that she was coming off as so vain and superficial. I don't know if she was trying to eat up the camera that way or be that character, but she made it very clear that she officially told herself, I can't do this. Meaning I can't accept how he looks or how Mark looks. I think that she even admitted to the camera that she just...
Yeah, she did. She did say to the camera that she didn't find him as physically attractive as she did Barnett. And then she told him to his face that she thought Barnett was fucking sexy. Quote, unquote. It's just like, wow.
I remember this conversation, but I don't remember it as in much detail as you do.
I think it's the moment of the show that stuck out to me the most, because it's like I saw her And so if I could just copy and paste her into an office of a therapist in that moment, it would have been great. Because, she was in the pose that people really get in for therapy when they're really upset and they're in tears. And it's so heartbreaking, this woman. And if you, knew what was going on behind scenes, you would be heartbroken for her, too. And it's she's taking out her heartbreak by hurting somebody else.
Yeah, which is unexcusable. I mean...
Yeah, no, it's awful. It's absolutely awful.
But he also put himself in that position. Apparently, on interviews outside of the show, it's been made clear that he knew, they had this conversation already, that he knew that she wasn't into him, and she had already tried to go to the producers and say that this wasn't going to work out for her, and either way, the producers told her that if she were to leave, she'd have to pay for all of the expenses, that for the hotel, for the trip, for the plane ticket, everything, if she were to leave, which is completely unfair. So she was...
Yeah, it was day 2 in Mexico when that happened?
Yeah, and that's a lot. And I think that it was heartbreaking for Mark in the beginning, not knowing all this information, because the edits made it seem like Mark was this just blind, lovesick puppy that just all he wanted was her love.
But I mean, okay, let's say if she did fall in love with him through the process, wouldn't it have been horribly manipulative for him to keep flirting with her after knowing that she didn't want to be there, and keep pushing for sex, knowing that she didn't want to be with him?
Well, yeah.
It comes off to me very creepy.
Yeah, well, that's why I was saying this is before we knew all this other information. Because before I knew this other information, basically the producers wanted us to root for Mark. It was...
Oh yes, he was the hero and she was the arch villain of the series.
Yeah, I was literally screaming at the TV screen at Mark sometimes, saying, "Why would you do this? She doesn't deserve you." You know? And now to learn all this other information about him is just, it's image shattering to me.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see that.
I don't know. The producers themselves are geniuses. They made it, I don't know. I think that Netflix really...
They struck gold. They struck gold with this show.
Well, they couldn't have had better contestants. Think about it. They had Lauren and Cameron, the perfect couple. And then they had Jessica and Mark, the older woman, and the young, lovesick puppy. What were the odds of them finding those exact those exact 4 people to document? You know, that's the exact type of interesting content people want. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So, and the rest of it was kind of fluff, I think. Yes, we talked about Damien and Giannina. Yes, they were interesting, but the show really revolved around, it could have been called the Jessica and Mark show, to be honest. And
the Jessica and Mark show with a little bit of Cameron and Lauren to make you feel a little bit better about yourself watching this show.
Oh, I mean, I think that they also needed Barnett and
Amber, so that way they could have somebody for Jessica to lust after.
Exactly. What are the odds, right? And see, even the fact that Barnett was the super conventionally attractive man, and they also had the hot girl that they made look dumb, they made look dumb, i.e. Amber. So they had all these characters that you could write, meaning that literally those are things, if somebody had wrote a script for a reality TV show, those are the characters that people want, you know?
Yeah.
So, anyway.
I don't know. I feel bad for both of them for different reasons, and I just think that as a watcher, it was great. I loved watching them. But as a person, I feel like it was kind of unethical.
It was unethical, and it was sad. It was just really, if you really get down to the nitty-gritty, it's sad. Because the producers characterized these two people to fit roles, and they were forced. I mean, at least Jessica was forced to portray that role. And well, okay, forced is an exaggeration of a word to describe that.
She was set up.
She was set up, but she did. I mean, it was of her doing. She didn't have to be that way. She didn't have to behave like that, but she chose to, and that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know. It was just in the beginning when they were in the pods though, I was really rooting for them. I was
Really? Because it was like, from the pods, I could tell it's all like, oh, this girl doesn't know what she wants. She really doesn't know what she wants. Anything she chooses.
Oh no, it was the first. I believe that they were the first couple to be shown in the pods, and they had talked about the fact that she's into baseball and they're from the same city and all these things.
Oh.
Do you remember that at all?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, you were right. They were the first couple in the pods.
Yeah, so they
were the last couple in the last episode too.
Yeah, so they were. They made it seem like in the beginning that they were perfect for each other, and it somehow derailed and became what it was. But in the beginning, I was really rooting for them. I was like, oh, they're gonna beat the standards of the older woman and the younger man. This is gonna be great. Like, that was in my mind. I thought it was gonna turn out that way, but it didn't. Did you see all the memes of 2020? 2020 is the way I can't remember exactly what it says, but it's like 2020 is a train wreck because Jessica's 20 years older, or no, 10 years? Mm-hmm. Yeah, because Jessica's 10 years older than Mark, and it's because she made such a big deal out of it. I don't know. Let's wrap back around to your question of would I see myself on a show like this?
Yeah, I asked you that during the first episode where we talked about Love is Blind. And you said probably during that one down point of your life right after your ex, Bob.
Yes, Bob. Yes. I don't know. I think that before knowing all of this editing stuff happened, I probably would have been dumb enough to be on that show. I'll admit to that.
Did you change your mind?
I'll admit
Did talking about it change your mind?
Yeah, I'll admit to that. But I would just hope that I would stick true to my morals, and I think I'm a good person. That no matter what happened on the show, I'd still come off, at least I try to, as the most genuine and honest that I could be in a show like this. Because I feel like people like Cameron and Lauren, and a lot of them actually, they came into the show hoping they would find love, right? And I can see myself being that doe-eyed girl that just wants to find love, because that's who I was way back when.
Yeah, but I think the problem is, from a producer standpoint, as soon as you mentioned that you suffer from bipolar, that would be the emphasis of you. They would look for any moment that they could.
But that wouldn't, if that were the case, I'd try to use that as a way to break the stigma of bipolar disorder. You know how I am.
But you have no control over what they put on screen and what they don't put on screen.
But, okay, I feel like the extent of my behavior wouldn't even be as bad as the way Giannina behaved. So they would have to really... Have you seen me freak out that much, though?
Okay, but Kat, I can also manipulate the levels. I can also manipulate your pitch. I can also mix your words in a certain order to where it won't come out the way the sentence you said. It'll be laid out in a completely different manner that makes it seem as though you said something else. I could also cut together footage of you saying something, and maybe 2 hours later he looks surprised at a TV show and put that there right afterwards where you say something and he looks shocked.
Did they do
and
that?
hurt.
Did they do things like that?
Yes, several times. Okay, do you know what? Okay, going back to the show, if you watch anytime they're drinking, it's in these opaque metal cups. And the reason for that is that there's no way to tell the passage of time during a conversation.
Oh, that's smart. All right, fine.
And it's easy. It's super easy with audio, but with visuals, you have so much more to play with.
Interesting. Yeah, I guess so. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I can see that. But I don't know. If we're going to go down to me as a person, I'm constantly trying to find ways to break stigmas because yes, I don't know. Did I mention I have bipolar disorder in the first episode? That's something I should have.
You mentioned it in the second episode.
Okay. Yeah, bipolar disorder, it's interestingly enough, it does not define who I am, but it is the reason why I'm driven to do certain things that I am right now. And my whole thing, since we're talking about whether I would show up on reality TV or not, is that if I would really try to make myself look as good as I can as somebody with a mental illness, because it's so, and honestly, if they were to edit it out like that, I would do everything in my capability to make it known that that show did that to me, because it would come out as a media fiasco that they tried to make somebody with mental illness look crazier than they were, because that's the nature of things right now. I think that, like, even though it's slow, we're moving in a trend where we're trying to promote mental health awareness, and we're moving in a trend where we're trying to normalize the idea that depression, anxiety, and all this stuff is okay, and that if a show were to edit me in a way that made me look crazier than I was solely because of the fact that I had bipolar disorder, or have bipolar disorder rather, they would look terrible. So yes, I agree that they could do whatever the fuck they wanted, and I would have no control over that. But I will not take it lying down. Well, but I'm also just little old me too, so...
Well, I'm just glad that you learned your lesson to not go on anything unless you have some say of how the outcome turns out.
Yeah.
So just, keep that in mind.
Is that our lesson to close off our podcast?
That is our lesson. That is the perfect lesson. We'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.